I said, make sure I definitely saw it. Okay, you're on. All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the final night of our fourth annual Student Affairs Virtual Information Seminar. I am Calvin Harris, the Director of Student Involvement and Leadership here at Hampton University. On tonight, we have with us Ms. Tiffany Tucker. She is one of the supervisors within student accounts. And in a few moments, we would also be joined by Mr. Martin Miles, who is the Director of Financial Aid. I do acknowledge the fact that the original schedule did say that financial aid was going to take place at 7 p.m. We did send a communication out that he will be joining us at 6 p.m. So this is a 2-in-1 session. So we're going to go ahead and close out tonight with the both of them. So once Mr. Martin Miles gets here, we will introduce them. So Ms. Tucker, welcome back.
Thank you.
4 years in a row. Could you just go ahead and introduce yourself to all of the Hamptonians and Hamptonian families out there?
Tiffany Tucker, Supervisor, Student Accounts. I've been with the university 14 years, 12 years in student accounts. My office is located in Whipple Barn, and we handle, oh, I'm sorry.
All right, so just to let you know, in a few moments, you will introduce yourself along with the information from your department, and then we will open up the lines for some parents to ask you some questions, as well as Mr. Martin Miles towards the end, okay? All right, just go ahead and get started. You can go ahead and now and tell us about the Office of Student Accounts.
So we handle billing, student billing, payment plans, refunds, the financial clearance process, and also the student insurance waivers. And then just a quick overview of a few of those. For the student billing, we upload statements monthly in a system called TouchNet, and I'll give you the information later on where you view that. Because TouchNet also lets you see the student account in real time, so everyday transactions. As far as the financial clearance process, we basically review all student accounts or students who have registered to see if they are financially cleared to attend the next term. And I just want you all to please know that holds go on every semester. It takes us about 2 to 3 days to complete the clearance process, and then the holds come off. So, but that will happen every semester. And we send a notification out before every term as well. Payment plans, I'll go in further detail with that as well. And then, because payment plans can get a little tricky. And then refunds, we process those. Any federal refunds, we automatically do those within 14 days, usually a lot sooner. If it's a refund that's not from federal funds, then that has to be requested by a parent or student, either via email or they can come in to the office to the student accounts window in Whipple Barn. And as far as the student insurance, if you do not want the school's insurance, you will have to waive that every year in the fall semester by September 1st. And we send notifications. Gallagher is the company that handles the waivers and reviews the insurance to see who's eligible to waive. And they send constant notification, emails. We send a letter, and we send a letter home as well. But they also stay in constant contact or, give you the status of the waiver. And this you put all our information at the end?
Yeah.
Okay, so that'll be included in the information at the end but we'll send a notification out from the office as well. And that's pretty much.
All right. So on one day last week, a couple of parents, when we had Chrissy LaFoon here, she was talking about not Chrissy, I'm sorry. We had Dr. Tweedy came to the presentation from the health center, and she talked about clearance. So I know that you all are another aspect of a student's clearance process. Could you please explain to the parents and students out there, what does it mean to be financially clear?
Okay, very Great question. So financial clearance means you either have a full financial, well, first of all, you can't have a prior balance. So it
Okay.
means no prior balance, which right, of course, new students, you're not gonna, but going forward, you can't have a prior balance. So you would either have, in order to be financially cleared, you either have to have a full financial aid package, which in an accepted and approved. So that means anything that was offered on that financial aid package, you've accepted everything. If there's a plus loan, that has to be in an approved status. That's approved status because that's a credit-based loan. So if you're using the full financial aid package, everything in the right status, you complete all the requirements, you don't need a payment, we can view that, see that you, that basically means you are financially clear because the package will cover the year.
Okay.
If you're not using the full financial aid package, say you're only using the NHU scholarship or something like that. So basically, we look at your, pretty much your base rate is gonna be $22,950 for a full-time on-campus student. So you would take that $22,950, deduct what aid you are using, and then from that, for the fall, whatever that out-of-pocket is, you would divide that by 4. Because you get 4 payments in the fall, 5 payments in the spring. First payment in fall is August 1. So August 1, we're looking for at least 1/4 of your out-of-pocket payment. And there's some notices have already gone out about that as well, with like a sample bill, you know, 8,000 was remaining. So 2, 2, and 2, 2, 2, 2, August 1, September 1, October 1, November 1.
Okay.
Basically, same thing happens again in the spring. So you need at least that 4th. And then, like I said, we'll let you know when we start the clearance process. If we see at least that 4th there, take the hold off, student's good to go.
All right, great. So how, you mentioned it earlier, but how do the students review their accounts or bill within the TouchNet system?
Yes, so TouchNet, the easiest way to get to TouchNet is if you're going like to the student portal and click on the student portal and you just scroll. You don't have to go in like to the administrative side or the other side for enrolled students, I believe it is. So you just scroll down to campus links and you click on the TouchNet login, and you need the student ID number and their PIN to access that. And students can make you an authorized user or give you their ID number and PIN. But you see there real time their account balance, the bill, what aid is pulling in, what has paid out, that type of thing.
All right. And you already mentioned it, Ms. Bell, the administrator, will enter in your contact information within the chat line that you have below, okay?
Yeah, I'm here.
So at this time, ready? We're gonna open up the phone lines a little for a couple of questions until Mr. Martin gets here. Ms. Bell, can you go ahead and enter that in there? So Ms. Bell, the administrator, she's about to enter into the chat room for you all the contact information to get to Ms. Tucker's office and student accounts via telephone number or email. If you do decide to send an email, please be sure to include your student's Hampton University ID number, as well as a good contact number to be reached, along with a brief synopsis or scenario of what your question or concern may be. And then also, right now, I know that a lot of offices are running on about a 2 to 3 day delay.
Give us 2 days.
2 to 3 day delay as they are trying to close out. But we generally have a lot of parents that are concerned because our students will be arriving next Friday for pre-college and just trying to get everything resolved for the fall. So just know. But for the most part, it's been a really good ride on both ends. So at this time, we're going to go ahead and open up the phone line or the virtual lines, I guess, and take a couple of questions. It looks like the first one is Maria Grover or Grover.
Thank you. So a few questions. One, my daughter was originally given a band scholarship. She's chosen not to do band again now. So we originally accepted it, but now we need to decline it. How does she go about declining it after she has accepted it?
Now that part, I probably should let Mr. Miles answer that question. That's more, that
Okay.
falls under the financial aid side.
Okay. Next question. What is the address to send outside scholarships? I see on the website, Hampton University Business Office, Hampton, Virginia, but there's no, I mean, will it get to y'all that way, or
Yes.
is there something more specific?
It will still make it to us. I would advise putting either attention business office or attention the cashier's office. We have our own mail service, so that's why you don't necessarily have to add the street address. But if you want to, or if the agency is requesting that, it's 200 William R. Harvey Way.
Any day next week except for
That's a
200,
piece of
200.
information. Our university hosted by our own private zip code. So that is how all mail comes here, because we're the only one in the zip code.
So it definitely should make it, but
right.
but you can also add that 200 William R. Harvey Way.
And my last question is about how, if we're paying on August the 1st, how do we go about getting the payment to you? Is it credit card, cashier's check? What's the best way to do that?
Great question. You can also pay through TouchNet. TouchNet does allow you to make credit card payments, ACH payments. So a lot of parents just choose to do that because they're already in there viewing the account, and it allows you to save payment options. You can call into the cashier's office and make a payment over the phone. Now they're open Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 4. And that number is 757-727-5663. And then you can also use the same payment site where you went to make the advance payment, like the $600. You can use that one as well. You don't have to log in on that one. You just need the student ID number.
What is on the TouchNet portal?
So if you go, like they're going into the student portal, click on the student portal and just scroll down to campus links. You gotta scroll down. You see it?
Oh, they were asking to
Oh.
explain how to get to it again.
So if you're going from our main webpage, like going under current students, and you'll see that blue box that says student portal. So you just click on that and scroll down till you see campus links. It's on the left. And TouchNet is like the last one listed.
And when she says our main website, that is www.hamptonu.edu. On the right-hand side, you will see 3 lines. When you click that, when you scroll down to Campus Life and then select Quick Links.
If you current students on the first 3
Right.
bars, current students, and once you click on that, it'll take you to that next page where that student portal box is right on the left. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for the information.
You're welcome. It looks like Miss Andrea James.
Yes, hello, how are you? Thank you for having this.
You're
This
welcome.
might be a question for the financial aid point of contact, but my student has received a merit scholarship. He has also been awarded financial aid student loan, but he is still receiving private scholarships. My question is, if he continues to receive those after the August 1st date and so on and so forth, will that financial aid package automatically go down, or do I have to do something specific for that?
Now, what will now the cashier's office, if a student has like a private scholarship check they're gonna apply that to the student account. I'm not that versed on their process, but the financial aid office, they do run a process to see if a student has outside aid in case their budget needs to be adjusted.
Okay, thank you.
All right. It looks like Mrs. Newell. I'm sorry.
Yes, Noel. Good
Well,
evening, and thank you for having this. I have a question about the verification form. My son has outside scholarships, and they're requesting verification forms. Where do we send those forms to get them verified that he's actually enrolled?
If it's strictly enrollment, that's the registrar's office. If the agency is asking for like information from his financial aid package, I would probably send it to the financial aid office first, and then they will forward it to registrar if they need to.
Okay, and we are also residents of Virginia, so he did receive the VTAG award. And that may be a question for financial aid, but I was wondering, do you know when they will, when I will be able to accept that? I'm unable to accept that on his financial aid portal. Do you know when that will be lifted?
I really can't, and Mr. Miles is coming in, but it is listed on his package.
It is listed on his packet and you are unable to accept it. It's just listed there.
It's saying pending.
It's saying pending, yes. And I was wondering when would we know when that when it would be accepted, because we are factoring that into his aid and whether or not we need to do the monthly plan. You know, that's a big factor.
Gotcha.
All right, Ms. Newell, hold on to stand by, okay? So Mr.
Okay.
Martin Miles has just arrived. We're gonna allow him to sit down, introduce himself, and then we will get back to that question first, okay? And then we'll go back to Ms. Maria to get her question answered so we can just get caught up, all right? So give him 1 second. Welcome.
Hello, sir. Moved up my schedule by 45 minutes.
All right.
Anything to help out the team. There you go.
Got a question for you already.
Yes, well, Mr. Miles, as you know, you've done this plenty of times.
Oh, yeah.
We have a lot of parents and future Hamptonians on the line.
Okay.
So we are very thankful that you are here with us today.
Yes.
And once again, everyone, this is Mr. Martin Miles. He is the Director of Financial Aid here at Hampton University. So if you can go ahead and greet the public. We've already kind of discussed some things about your office.
I understand.
But anything that you wish to go ahead and share proactively, and then we'll jump into the questions that were already posed. We had 2 questions already posed before you walking in and give them opportunity to ask their
Right, I
question.
have a history of being very long-winded. So what I'll do a brief introduction
Okay,
for those who may not know me, and then we'll go back to the questioner, you know, in that regard. So
All right.
stay on track because I have 18 items I want to talk about, if
Okay.
not 19. But hello, everyone. For those of you who do not know me, you may know me in terms of my name and is synonymous to financial aid. I am Martin Miles, and I have been the financial aid director here for about 21 years now. And so I'm familiar with the culture, familiar with our students, and whether you're legacy or whether you're incoming student, you know, that sort of thing. I also want to say I've been in higher education finance for about 40 years, and 21 years here on the private side, well, private school, but also I work for a public school as well as in the private sector, all in the area of higher education. So about 30, 40 years. I've been on every committee imaginable, even been to Congress, you know, once or twice, you know, over the years and so forth. So I don't want to belabor, but I was supposed to get here about 7. So I got about an extra 45 minutes where I can talk, right? All right, give a little bit more background about me. So parents, I know paying for a college education is probably one of the more important and serious investments that anyone can make, especially whether you're at a 2-year school or a 4-year school, and even at a private school like here at Hampton, because, you know, it's not cheap. Let's just cut to the chase. You know, on average, well, here at Hampton, it's $45,900. So we try to do everything from the point of admission to my area to try to help, you know, close that gap between awarded financial aid as well as the difference between that and the bill and that sort of thing that my colleague, Ms. Tiffany Tucker, may have already, you know, addressed in that regard. So anyway, I'll shut up here for a second or two, but I'm sure, you know, between now and maybe about 7:30, I'm quite sure I will get a flood of questions, and that's okay. I'm used to it.
all right. All right, so is Miss Maria still with us?
Yes, sir.
All right, Miss Maria, if you can go ahead and ask Mr. Miles your original question in reference to declining scholarships.
Yes, sir. Hello, Mr. Miles. So
Oh,
my daughter originally was going to do the band, but she's changed her mind. And so originally we accepted the band scholarship.
Yeah.
But now we need to decline it. And when we go back into her portal, the financial aid side of it, I don't see an option to where I can go back and decline after I have accepted.
yeah, one of my biggest disappointments here, since I've been here, is that there are certain things such as what you're talking about in the student portal that, believe it or not, it talks about my stuff, student accounts and some other areas. But we do not have oversight responsibility when it comes to whether or not the portal is working or not. We trust that it should be real time, but to be frank with you, it doesn't always work that way, per se, because, a lot of times, just like, on my end of things, you're dealing with the software and you're dealing with upgrades and things like that. And sometimes when we have a glitch, which we're always currently going through those, any school, whether it's a Banner school, PeopleSoft school, or a variety of other type of software, we call it the SIS system, Student Information System, that you use, anyone can attest to that there are a lot of upgrades sometimes that goes into that whole process. And so, but in any event, if your daughter is unable to decline that, I'm so flexible and liberal in my thinking, per se, as relates to helping students and parents where we can. You can simply email me your student's name and ID number and with that request. And since it's a written notification, I'll make sure that happens.
And what's that email address?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Martin.Miles, Miles, at HamptonU, as in university, .edu. So if it doesn't work for you, because sometimes we're doing upgrades to the system, university-wide, we're not the only agent, on the system. You have other units, as well. But we're the biggest elephant in the room when it comes to the student information system I just spoke about. So try it again, I guess, in the morning. And if you're unsuccessful, then I'll know who you are. So far you're the first person, to note that to me. But I'll make sure that happens. So that's a minor thing in the grand scheme of things, and we can make that happen.
Thank you, sir.
All
You're more
right.
than welcome.
And back to Miss Noel.
Yes. So I am a resident of Virginia. My son is as well. And we received the VTAG scholarship or VTAG grant, and we are unable to accept it. It says pending, and we are really looking to use that amount towards our financial aid so that we are cleared. I was wondering, did you know when that would clear?
A few things with that, and I'm happy to know that you are a Virginia domicile resident. Is one of the
Yes.
topics I was going to bring up, because between the 12.5, is your son an incoming freshman?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's $15,500 you do not want to leave on the table, and you won't. You're
Absolutely.
fine. However, prior to doing what you're doing, have you all submitted the actual application to the financial aid office? Because we have to review that, make sure you are who you say you are in terms of domicile in that regard. So have you submitted the application back to the financial aid office, and have you received any type of notification? Because everything we do is, is email, and that's just the way of the world, that kind of thing. We have a tracking system for everything that we communicate to students, on. So my question is, again, have you all completed the application? Because you just can't go online and accept it and all that if you haven't submitted the application. Now, we do post the funds there. We just post it there. It doesn't commit us to anything. But we do that because we want the family, to see, to the greatest extent possible, okay, I got this amount of money, I got this and that. And so some schools years ago, they wouldn't even post it because, you can, depending on your process and format and team that you're working with, or they didn't want to be held liable. No, you're not held liable as so long as you don't disperse the funds, in that regard. So again, I'm asking the question, have you all submitted the application?
Yes, we submitted the application back in March. There
Okay.
is a note on the account that said it was received in early April.
Okay, and you didn't receive anything back from us saying that, okay, question number 16 or 17, you still need to complete, or, or something like that?
No.
Okay, all right. Well, just as I made mention to the parent before you, I want to make sure that we help move this process along because, we're getting close to July 1st and August 1st and all those kind of
Yes.
big deadline dates. So again, and I'm used to getting a montage or a flood of emails. So just go ahead and send it to me and I'll check with my coordinator in that area just to make sure. But again, it sounds like to me what you are describing in terms of trying to accept it and, that kind of thing. It could be something with the software thing, and we're working out all this stuff. We have some consultants here, helping us with their SIS system, and they've been very, very good in terms of their response time. So we don't want you to lose that $1, okay? And so you go ahead and send that to me. As I said to the last parent, try doing it again at least one more time. Give me the benefit of the doubt. And if it does not work, and say, oh, Mr. Miles, I need your assistance on this, okay? So I'll
Okay.
give the students a name and ID number, and just a simple sentence or two.
Okay, and he's also a legacy scholar, and we have completed the legacy application as well, and we have heard nothing from that.
Okay, now with the legacy application, that whole process, that starts with the Office of Admission, because they have to
Okay.
kind of look at I would trust that you're a Hamptonian, and
Yes,
everybody.
few times.
Okay, good. And so they have to verify, all of that. It's a combination of admissions and registrar. So,
Okay.
when did you submit the application?
We submitted that application. That was probably around the same time as the VTAG, and that was back in March, late February, early March.
Okay, all right, okay, good. Well, include that in your email as well, because we have posted quite a few legacy, scholarships in that regard since that time. I know because everything flows through, what I do, and I, have to move it around within my team. So yeah. And sometimes, I'll be honest with you, sometimes, okay, we get the data, the spreadsheet, oh, I will look this one, and, it was just by accident or something like that. So anyway, it could be something as simple as that, or it could be something a little bit more than that. But as far as the tag goes, but as far as legacy goes, send it to me so I can double check it on their end. And if that turns up a blank, then I would recommend that you contact the Office of Admission per se, because they're the ones who actually has to do the due diligence on the scholarship, background, as I noted earlier.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Mr. Miles, you did supply some questions. So I went through a few of them that I think will be beneficial before we get back to questions. If a student out there has not already completed their financial aid, when do they have to complete their financial aid by? When will anyone see what they are awarded? And then when will the aid be dispersed?
Well, very good questions. Thank you, Mr. Harris. Yeah. The first question, the first part of you have a three-part question there. The first part of it is, you still have time, but we don't want time. The only sure thing about time is that it will run out. But specific to your question, they have until June of next year. Now you don't want that, no, because you need the money here and now. So again, if you have yet to do it, I would just encourage parents, to go ahead and do that. And and trust me, I've been around a long time. I've addressed dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of audiences, large and small, on campus and off campus. But I hear this simple question about, oh, I'm not going to qualify. Well, you may or may not qualify for any need-based aid, but even you earn $1 billion last year, you can still get federal non-need-based aid. But more important than that, we use the FAFSA data as it relates to awarding institutional scholarships beyond the point of admission. Because when you talk about endowments and non-endowments and things like that, typically, they're looking for, they have restrictions to them. And they want to see not just need, but they also want to see, some things, where you're from and all that kind of thing. And so forth, meaning what city you're from and state and all that kind of thing. And so we use the FAFSA in some regards, in some aspect, depending on the MOA for the scholarship to determine, to help us sometime to award that particular scholarship. And your second part of your question was?
When will
They will be dispersed?
they be awarded and then
Okay,
when is
well,
aid dispersed?
thank you. With regards to awarding, yeah, as soon as we get the FAFSA, it typically takes a receive it from the Department of Ed. Everything is electronic, this, electronic, that. But as soon as we import it from the Department of Ed, and first and foremost, the parents will receive notice or notification that, the FAFSA is complete and all that. Please check with your school, that kind of thing. So upon receipt of the data, we normally would turn that around within about, a little less than 3 days, three working days in that regard. Given where we are right now, we have processed, between incoming students and returning students, per se, well over, close about, almost about 10,500, students awards, as it relates to processing FAFSAs, because, a lot of those folks will come and some, won't. But when you look at the sheer volume, we're talking about 15, 16,000 applications, that come through my office, and we have to treat them as if the students plan to attend. We know how continuing students are. I'm speaking primarily of the incoming freshman class in that regard. And we know we can't have all those folks. We have a limited number of housing, on the campus. We know we can't bring in 10,000 freshman students. No, nowhere near that. So, but back on track and back on point about disbursement, yeah, we will disperse funds. We always disperse funds for the fall term after the add drop period. Because, if you drop classes, if you're supposed to be full-time, or you were full-time, you dropped to 3/4 time and that sort of thing, we have to prorate your financial aid, especially if you have any need-based aid in that particular package. And for you scholarship recipients, you certainly do not want to do anything close to that, which is to drop classes prior to the start of the semester, and even during the semester, because again, you have to retain full-time status throughout the academic year, which is part of your scholarship award agreement that you have signed, student and parent as well, from the Office of Admission. So you don't want to blow that at all by saying, oh, I can't get in that class. Well, find a class. So to make sure that you're at least full-time so you can retain that scholarship, for the year.
All right. What is federal campus-based aid?
Yeah, federal campus-based aid is basically the college work study, as well as a secondary grant to the Pell Grant. It's called the Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant. And not every student can get that because, we don't, with that, schools receive an allocation from the Department of Ed. And so unless I gave everybody $2, then I could do that. But we try not to do that because we know we have to do a lot more. And so on average, the SEOG grant, you have to be Pell eligible in order to receive that here at Hampton per se. And so because the funding is less than $500,000, do the math on that. You won't get very far if you were, awarding very large awards. So we try to average between $1,500 and sometimes $2,500 in that particular grant. Just like the Pell Grant, you do not have to pay that back and all that sort of thing. So that's campus-based aid. Basically, it is what the school receive an allocation in both programs, work study as well as SEOG, and the schools set the criteria, for distributing, awards from those two programs. And ideally, whenever you talk about need-based aid, the operative term there is need. And so, we always try to award the neediest students. And what I mean by that, students with the lowest, it used to call it expected family contribution. We don't call it that anymore with the new ASSA 24, 25 and all that good stuff. It's called the Student Aid Index. But anyway, it's basically the same in some respects. So not to dwell too much on that, but we try to award the neediest students, and typically your Pell students are the neediest student on the campus, undergraduates, and only undergraduates can get Pell in that regard. It's some extreme example or two for graduates, but I don't want to go there because I know my audience here is almost 90%, 99%, if not 100% undergraduate.
All right. And before we get back to the questions, could you please explain the highlights of what is required for them to retain their financial aid year to year?
That's a very good question because, I can tell you some horror stories that I get from sometimes some super smart kids who just came the first year and first semester, and they kind of blew it. And but to answer your question specifically, and I will address the three areas for federal aid. For federal aid, they have to maintain a 2.0 at the cumulative grade point average at the end of the spring semester in that regard. And they also have to complete at least 67% of the coursework attempted, okay? And so that's average, 67%. And that's in their, satisfactory academic progress policy. When it comes to scholarships, especially university scholarship, those that are offered through admission, okay? I think anyone who has received an Office of Admission Scholarship or Merit Scholarship, whether it's 7,500 or 25,000 or whatever, you have to retain a 3.0 cumulative grade point average at the end of the spring semester. Now, here's the good thing, and I'll get into a little historical data on that a little bit. In just a couple of seconds. Even if your son or daughter does not have a mathematical chance of even getting a 2.0 at the end of the spring and on academic scholarship, a merit scholarship, they're still able to retain that scholarship for the spring semester because the scholarship is for the year, it's not for the spring semester. But at the end of spring, it will be, we will, reassess it. We'll see where the GPA is, and boom, we have to remove that. And you'll be notified as well. As it relates to the room scholarship, you have to have at least a 2.8 cumulative grade point average. And going back to the merit scholarship, just for a second, a couple of years ago, and I want to give all the credit to President Williams when he came in and he looked at that particular policy and he said, well, how can we help more students? Because we always had a borderline of students who had like a 3.29 and 3.28 and all that. And, and it's not rounding up and all of that kind of stuff. No, you got to have, at that time, prior to President Williams, it was a 3.3. And we were one of the highest, one of the schools with one of the highest GPAs for renewing scholarships, around. But here's a dark side of students, especially incoming freshmen, on receiving merit scholarship. And I used to track this and all of this for about 15 years, that sort of thing. And I'll cut to the chase. About 40 to 42% of their freshman students, on average, year after year, would lose their merit scholarship because they were unable to retain, the 3.3, at that time. And if they made it to the second year, then that percentage, dropped precipitously down to about, 15%. And then if they made it to the junior year, it was almost, they almost always kept it, at the junior. We found very few students who would lose their academic scholarship, once they reach the junior, senior ranks and that sort of thing. So what I'm trying to say, parents, you really need to make sure that your student, I know you can't do the work. I get all that. And you can't go to the classroom. I get all that. But you do need to know, where they fall, before the end of the fall term, and that kind of thing, midterm grades and all that kind of thing. And I'll be quiet here in a second, because you don't want to be pleasantly surprised come May. And you'll be, well, I'm not surprised, but I know a lot of parents I have addressed over the years, they have been, because their son or daughter was either too embarrassed to tell them, and it went half the summer right before they had to return, and then all of that came out, per se. And all of our communication is directed to the student, in that regard. It goes to their student Hampton address, email address, in that regard. So I just want to, kind of highlight that. Why? Because that's a big elephant in the room for a lot of our merit scholars who, sometimes have trouble keeping it after the first year.
All right, so in reviewing some of the questions that were in the chat, one of the concerns from a few of the parents are that they have been in contact with your office, given they're able to get through to your receptionist, leave a message, as well as advise to email you and have emailed you directly. I know that your office is expanding, but they have not received responses in quite some time to that question, and they're concerned because certain deadlines are approaching. So at this point, if they still have questions, what is the quickest way for them to get their individual situations responded?
Yeah, well, I've always said to parents since Lassie was a puppy, that the preferred method of communication to the financial aid office is not by a phone call. See, folks, and I'll tell you the preferred method here in a second. Stop and think about it. A financial aid conversation, and I'm not picking on my dear colleague to my left, it's not like how much I owe. It's how much more can I get, Mr. Miles? How much more can I get financial aid? That conversation is a very serious conversation for most of our students and parents. And it takes at least 15, especially if you talk to me, it's going to take at least 15, 25 minutes, because I want to make sure that, you're well informed and that, and that sort of thing. But again, the preferred method of communication is to use the Contact Us link, which is on the financial aid webpage, homepage. Because stop and think about it. And I'll just give you a little numbers here. Okay, we processed well over 17,000 new applications. I'm not talking about our continuing students. Okay, stop and think about it. If 17,000 people call your office, unless you had a system for tracking that and so on and so forth, and which our email system does that. It tracks your inbound messages as well as our outbound messages, and it also serves as a history in terms of communication. But trying to call in, I mean, that's fine if you can do that and if you're successful, but that's not my preferred method of communication and has never been that. So the largest, I know we're not that large in terms of 30,000 students and all of that, but stop and think about the numbers I just gave you. And so again, I hear a lot of time, well, Ms. Miles, we've been trying to call. See, I can't verify that. And some people ratchet up a little bit and some people, don't. I get that. There's a little bit of truth on both sides of that particular point. But at the end of the day, if you do the email, you see, and so we have it broken down, to where counselor 1 will get, a certain, area of the population, counselor 2 and counselor 3. We have a supervisor who actually managed that, per se. And around this time of the year, folks, I'll be very frank, very honest. Yeah, I mean, we get a flood of everything because, what you just mentioned about deadline dates and all that stuff approaching. That's why if you use the student portal, and I know we talked a little bit about a few challenges, with a couple of people accepting things, but that's what we do. Everything is electronic and it's in the student portal and that sort of thing. So I strongly encourage parents and students and whomever else, the best way to contact us between now and September, after September, when all the dust settles. Oh yeah, it's pretty, slow going in that regard. But when you're dealing with 17,000 new students and about almost 2,500 to 2,700 continuing students, if I'm doing the math right, that's a lot of inquiry. Now, granted, not everybody calls. Some people know exactly what they got. Some people see what they got. Oftentimes, what it turns out to be is, can you do more? Can you do more? And those questions do need to be answered. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just simply trying to say, if you're waiting on a phone call, see, that's counselor. Not only are they, reviewing, the application, if there are outstanding issues on the FAFSA, tracking requirements and all that sort of thing. But they also are, so they're doing that as well as, trying to multitask, with the phones. So I only have 3 financial aid counselors right now. And as you mentioned, we're trying to build on that. But again, if folks were to use the contact, even I'm out there, you could contact me out there. I've always been out there. I was one of the people that created that whole concept. It's a simple concept. But that is the best way to contact us, folks, because I hear you, I understand that, but that is the best way to go, as opposed to I call, because I have no way of verifying that. And oftentimes, when we do go and try to do a little a little research, with our telephone quote, if we get a really serious matter with that, doesn't always turn out, to be that way, but that's okay.
So the short version to your answer. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
Is from the student portal, financial aid contact us link.
Yes.
Okay.
Remember, I had an extra 45 minutes.
Okay. But I think you kind of lost me in the response, and I'm trying to say, okay.
Yeah,
I
I was
got
speaking about volume and the
Right.
preferred method to do that. And the reason why, if you're trying to call that one number, even though we have a ring down number, the best way is to use the contact us.
Okay.
That's a shorter version.
That's the shorter version.
Okay. I'll try to do better.
All right, so we're gonna go back to the questions that the parents and students may have.
Sure, that's fine.
But due to the second time, we have to get straight to the point, okay? In the response.
Wait a
But
minute,
I think-
I didn't supposed to get until 8 o'clock.
Well, we got so many people, we got over 300 people waiting, so
I
we just
understand.
gotta keep it quick and
Okay.
concise
Okay,
to the
all right,
point.
Okay.
So we want to be able to help as many as we possibly can.
Okay.
All right, so now we're gonna go back, and it looks like Miss Patrice Williams.
Yes, thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. My question is, my son is a computer science major. We paid the pre-college deposit, but the computer science majors, they have the scholarship that fully paid for the deposit as well. What I'm wondering is what happens to my 500? Will that be applied towards the fall, or what do we do with that?
Yes, it would. If you don't request it as a refund, it'll automatically roll over to the fall.
Okay, thank you so much. That was easy for you guys. Bye.
Mr. Henry McMillan.
Yes, good evening. Thank you so much. I have a couple of questions. Ms. Tiffany, one, my daughter's going to be attending the summer program. So went into the portal. I was trying to understand her finances. I can't tell whether my $2,500 has been applied to that program just yet. It just says negative $2,500. It looks like we've paid more than has been billed to us. Second question is, when we get down there next week, can we pay for her fall tuition, and do you accept cashier's checks? I don't want to do anything on the credit cards. I want to understand the forms of payment that you accept. And then my third question is, Mr. Miles, has the FAFSA stuff been evaluated for each student? I haven't seen anything in her portal just yet that says that.
So Ms. Tucker, did you want to
Okay.
answer this first too?
So the first question, are you seeing the billed amount for pre-college?
I went through her portal, and basically it shows charges, it shows payments, and when we get down to the bottom of it, it says negative $2,500, which is the amount for the summer program that my wife, has agreed to be paid. But I don't know if it's been associated or applied to her program, and I don't want to get down there next week and then like, oh, you're not clear.
Oh, that's a good-
That I don't want to do.
That's a good problem. That means you've paid, you just haven't been billed yet.
Okay, so that's why I'm saying minus $2,500.
Yep, so once they either enter her classes, or sometimes another account might need to be ran. Because like say if you've entered classes, just hasn't billed the account yet. But either way, we know that pre-college is 2,500, so you paid. So we'd still mark that student financially cleared.
Okay.
And
And-
and you can definitely prepay for fall. We accept credit cards, cashier's check, no personal checks.
Right.
And that's pretty much, and then like through TouchNet, you can use ACH. Like it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do this touch test though. I'm just coming to campus. I'm gonna keep the cashier's check, and then we're done. So
Okay.
that makes it simple. The other point is, Mr. Miles, has the FAFSA stuff been evaluated?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. We have done that since April. And as I mentioned earlier in one of my responses, we've awarded, well over almost 10,500 students. Let me ask you a question though, because I think I possibly know, what the issue could be in your son or daughter situation. Is she a freshman, or is he or she a freshman?
She will be a freshman, yes.
Okay, did you all complete the Common App?
We did,
Right. And
yes.
oftentimes, sometime a delay would be if the student did not include their social security number on the Common App. Because what happens is, you've done the FAFSA as you indicated, and with the federal government, you have to have the social security number. But as it relates to that information, meaning if the social security number is missing off the Common App, we cannot connect the two. And so I'm thinking that could be the problem here with your daughter or your son or your daughter's situation. And so feel free to email me, because we catch a lot of those. And even if you were to go back and look at the correspondence that the Office of Admissions sends out, they make it very clear to students, if you plan to apply for federal student aid, you must include your social security number. So every now and then we have maybe 10% of our population who forget that for whatever reason, in that regard. The other important factor to that is, even if you made $1 billion last year, as I was mentioning very, not too long ago, and if your daughter received or is a recipient of a scholarship from the Office of Admission, it clearly tells them there that you must do the FAFSA, in that regard. So I'm glad to hear that you've done that. But the issue is, as I understand it, we can't connect the two if I'm thinking that is correct. So please, email me tomorrow. It's a simple fix. And sometimes we have to request a student's social security card, because we have to have something legal, in that regard to make that happen. So then the two systems will connect, that sort of thing. When we run their software programs as it relates to, packaging and all that kind of good stuff, that's financial aid, lingo, then it will connect. So it's a standard issue that we come across. And it usually only happens for that 1 year. Because once the social security number is updated in the database in the student financial aid module, we will not have that problem year 2, year 3, year 4.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Sure. All right, thank you. Miss Tiffany Briggs.
Hi, thank you guys for hosting this meeting tonight. So I do have a couple of questions. One, I don't know if this might be a combination between financial aid and student accounts. So my son has several outside scholarships coming in. We have gotten, his award letters from these outside scholarships, and some of them are saying that funds won't be sent to the school until like July. So the question is, if we do have proof that he's getting the scholarships, but they may not get there by August 1st, are we still responsible for making sure his full balance is cleared by August 1st, even though he's getting outside scholarships that are coming in?
Tiffany, you want
Yes,
to address that part?
yes.
Because
The
I do
only
have a
thing with-
comeback to that.
Outside scholarship, we cannot count them toward their financial clearance until they're actually in-house and on the student account.
Okay. And then second, as
Let
far
me,
as,
Let
sorry,
me come back to that a little bit. Yeah, if you send the financial aid office notices of those awards, then we will post it to the student account, not in the sense that the funds were credit, but we would anticipate that the student is going to receive X dollar amount. So my colleague to my left, Ms. Tucker, they will see it, but as she was saying, the money hasn't quite, gotten here yet, but we know you get 10, 15, whatever the amount is.
so we would,
My
sorry,
point
go ahead.
is send a notice of those awards, to the financial aid office so that we can credit the account.
Okay, and so it would need to go to that financial aid
Yeah,
at
yes, ma'am.
hamptonu.edu.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and then my second question is, so when it comes to the types of loans that students qualify for, so say for instance, a parent is unable to get a Parent Plus loan, there is an option to request an increase of the students, I think it's the unsubsidized loans. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so a lot of those forms on the website, on your the financial aid office website, aren't working, like the links for those forms. Is there another way to request those forms?
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed in some of those links not working as designed. We have kind of brought this to the attention of our webmaster on more than one occasion in that regard. So, but we also have, under the form section, are you able, are you saying that when you go there, that you're unable to print off that additional unsubsidized form?
Correct. Yeah, none of those forms
Okay.
work. Under where it says general forms, if you click on, none of those work.
Yeah, that's very important to me. And a lot of times in these kinds of venues and sessions and things like that, I learn a lot about what's working and what's not working or what needs to be improved, that kind of thing. And so it's a good thing if you keep an open mind. So please let me know that, because that's something that we seriously have to get a move on. This year, for whatever reason, with all the changes, things haven't always moved at warp speed, but we have to move at a faster speed here, because as been mentioned, we're moving closer and closer to those dates in that regard. And to go back to your question though, about the unsubsidized amount, technically it's well, not technically, but regulatorily, it's $4,000 for that student if the Parent Plus loan is denied. And where some parents kind of get confused, I don't know about confused, it may be they just don't want to do it. If you decline it, no, you have to apply for it, and it has to be denied credit, that sort of thing. And just more, and back to the whole thing about additional unsub, you have the option of getting an endorser. It does not have to be a family member, anything like that. It could be, someone who wants to see your son or daughter, do well, in that regard. So just keep that in mind, per se, because, the Parent Plus loan is in some award packages, it's a good chunk. And you want to be able to, if you're able to get an endorser, you can get that full amount, in that regard. So just keep that in mind. But email me as well and say, Mr. Miles, I'm the parent that asked you about the links, and so that I can kind of, stir the pot a little bit.
Okay, thank you. And I have one more question. So back to when you were talking about the SEOG and or work study, if a student was awarded that or did qualify for that, has that already been included in the financial aid award packages?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And be frank with you, it's not just the incoming freshmen. We have to divide that pie up between incoming students as well as our continuing students. And it's not in the grand scheme of things, under 500 grand, about 450,000. That's not a lot of money, and not in my opinion, in the grand scheme of things. And so, so we have to kind of divide that pie up per se. So it's harder to find let's say after ad drop and all that, oh, I got a little bit of money in SOG left over, more so than work study per se. We tend to have a lot more flexibility with work study, but at this point in time, we're at max. We have maxed out in both of those until they drop, because we know that we will have a redistribution of funds when those students who say, well, I can't afford Hampton, I'm not coming to Hampton, that kind of thing. And that's just, that's.
So, so students who do end up dropping, if you guys do have additional funds, those will be redistributed to other students who did decide to stay and may qualify for those.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right. That's all I had. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Ms. Kia Hilton?
Good evening. Can you please tell me where those links will be found for additional, I have two questions, the additional unsubsidized amounts if we want to request that? I'm on the portal now and I can't seem to find out where that is.
Are you on the home page?
We are at, yes, where it says award package by aid.
Yeah, you need to find a link, the adjoining link that says forms.
Okay, where would that be?
No, you can do it from the home page.
Okay.
It's on the financial aid office department website on the Hampton University main web page, not in the student portal.
Okay, thank you.
No, there, but I was speaking about the financial aid.
No, I just need to know where the links are. For
Yeah,
the
you can connect from them. From my homepage on the website, I have a link that speaks very specifically about forms. And that's what the other caller, was talking about. If you cannot find it, well, we know, let's just cut to the chase. We know that the links are based on what the last caller said to me, and, one of the callers before that, some of those links are inactive.
Okay, as well as the TouchNet login. We're trying to get into the TouchNet as well, and I am hitting that link, and it's not giving me anything as well.
Yeah, so I would, well, to go back to the forms, just please email me about the forms, because whether you found it or not, we know that it's it's not working. And so I have to make sure that it is working, and then I will email you back specifically the link and all that. But I need to make sure that we need to get that working first. As far as TouchNet is concerned, my dear colleague, Ms. Tucker, can address that piece of it.
Yes, because I just went on before I came over, so I'm not sure what may be happening with that.
Well,
What are you getting, like an error message or what?
Yeah.
Well, we're clicking it and it's just giving us a blank screen. So I'm there now. I hit the word that says TouchNet.
Okay.
It's to me, we cannot establish a secure connection.
Oh,
and I'm on the same Wi-Fi that I'm on talking to you on my other laptop.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm not sure. Because I was just gonna ask if you were on a phone or a laptop.
No, I'm on a separate laptop than what I'm speaking on. So I'm on a different laptop trying to do it from here as I'm speaking to you.
Yeah, there may be some, because
Yeah.
They had done some maintenance, but I checked before I even came over to make sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's probably something temporary, but I will definitely look, because I normally don't have any issues with that, because that's where
Okay.
But
okay, well, if so, I'll just call the office.
I would also just offer it, if you could check it in the morning, because oftentimes a lot of the maintenance is done after 6 o'clock and that kind of thing, because the vast majority of the campus, left for the day with some exception. And so a lot of things, sometimes I don't even know, I'm gonna take down the system, I'm gonna do this and that, that kind of thing. So just try it in the morning, but I do want to hear back from you so that we can get these links things on my end going. So I wouldn't despair at this point. I just wouldn't despair at this point.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. Christy?
Thank you. Thank you guys for this evening. A couple of questions. I'll start with Tiffany first. The advance payment that we paid in February for my daughter has not been applied to the account. I've checked student accounts. We used TouchNet to pay before she even had it, I believe, an ID number. So I don't know if that's causing an issue, but I don't see it anywhere on her accounts.
now you won't see You won't see the 500 until July 3rd.
So the 600 that she paid, that we
So
paid.
when the payment comes in, you pay the 600, but we put 100 of it towards the matriculation fee.
Okay,
And then 500 is on a deposit screen.
okay.
Students attend pre-college and we don't want that payment.
Oh, you know, okay, so then I'll double check, because we saw
So it
two
may-
500s, 2,500, $100. We just saw a lot of different
If you see
credits.
100 in there or $100 matriculation,
Mhm.
that means we have it. It's just,
Okay,
we don't until after these summer programs are over, that's when it actually applies to the student account. So I'm actually glad you brought that question up, because a lot of people are like, where's my advance payment?
yeah.
But well, you see it actually applied to the student account on July 3rd.
Okay, and then my next question, the payment plan. I saw the email that you sent out about signing up for it. It was part of some verbiage that came out, but the link to take you to explain how the payment plan works, do we have to fill out a form to sign up for a payment plan? Or are we just paying based on that quarter payments you were talking about earlier? Okay,
Because I was hoping to have better news, but we are in the process of we're in the work. It was supposed to be ready before the fall, but it's an automated system, like a full service payment plan.
Mhm.
We may still make the deadline for fall, but they've had some server issues. I don't want to bore you with all that, but where it will calculate the payment for you.
Okay.
So I don't have a hard go live date, so I just didn't say that yet. But
Okay, so August 1st, just pay a quarter.
it's one payment.
Okay.
You know, calculate it yourself. But
Okay,
fingers crossed, after that, it will be an automated where it's gonna tell, like when you're going to touch, it's gonna tell you whatever your fourth decimal and on the due date.
okay. And Mr. Miles, I'll email my questions to you. Most of it was links related. We're not being able to move forward with accepting her awards. I believe you have to like do another part, but when you hit the link, it doesn't open up into anything. But that
Well,
might be.
well, let me stop you there, because that's a different thing, what you're saying. What you have to do, if you're going online to accept the award, well, you can also do it from our website, whereas, where I have a link that speaks to that, but the student has to agree to all the little 20 things that we say, that can impact the award. If they try to skip that, then no, then they won't be able to do that. Are you speaking about trying to accept it in the portal?
We accepted it in the portal, and it's supposed to take you to a link where you're supposed to, I guess, fill out that 20, that part doesn't come up. So it's just circles.
Something about that portal.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. You please send that to me, yeah, because I'm,
Okay.
some of it, with the links and the connections, I'm a little concerned about that, per se, given where we are.
And that's it for me. Thanks, guys.
All right, you okay?
All right, looks like Ms. Hickman.
Yes, good evening, everyone.
Good
Good
evening,
evening.
welcome.
Good evening. I have a question about when we were talking about outside scholarships. My daughter's getting a few outside scholarships. I heard you say that we're supposed to upload those to the financial aid portal so you can have credit for that on the award package, which is fine. I can do that. My question is, will I be able to, a fourth what's left over, can I get credit for those outside scholarships? So my fourth that's left over will be lowered, even though the scholarships haven't technically came in to the student account office.
Yeah, so you do have to report them. That's
Okay.
federal guidelines, but we can't necessarily, because basically when we're looking at their financial aid package, it's a outside aid, with no specifics, no. So we can only count it towards your financial clearance once those funds actually come in, because sometimes, unfortunately, they
don't come.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
just to jump in here, what I would also recommend to any party, who's expecting to receive an outside scholarship per se, and, it doesn't hurt to contact that entity. I just call it entity,
Okay.
whatever, and say, hey, my son or daughter starts in Hampton in a couple of months. Can you give me an estimated time frame, when
Mhm.
that can be sent? Because sending it to us in fall, semester and all that, which we do get, a lot of that, but to answer your question, I would just follow up with that, with them to see how soon that they can send it, because as Ms. Tucker indicated, it has to be, in receipt before you can actually, get the reduction or the credit, to the account.
Okay. And as far as this is the second, thank you for answering that. That was perfect. The answer was perfect. I totally understand that and I appreciate that. And I'm prepared on August the 1 if I have to pay my fourth. Next question that I have is as far as signing up for the payment plan. I don't know if I read somewhere that you have to have something done by July 1. I don't know what deadline is July 1, or did I just misread that somewhere?
Yeah, there isn't really a deadline for the payment plan. You can, you want to have that, in order to have the 4 months, you want to start in August. And of course, in August, we start the financial clearance process. So and even right now, because we're trying to go to the automated, there used to be an actual, like a form or a fillable form, but since we weren't even planning on using that anymore, there isn't a form for you to even fill out at this point. You just, if the fourth is there, when we start the clearance process, you're good to go. Now with the automated system, of course, it'll be a form, you enroll in it online.
Okay, great. And I accepted I haven't applied for the Parent Plus loan. I haven't decided, I haven't applied because we get outside scholarship for the Parent Plus loan. We accepted it, but I'm not for sure if we're gonna do the credit check and all that good stuff. Because the scholarships are coming in. If I decide to not do the Parent Plus loan and I just pay that portion out of pocket, which would be my fourth, when those outside scholarships come in, we could request a reimbursement, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you. That's all I have. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right, Ms. Tucker, if you don't mind, can you stick with us for maybe about 8 to 10 more minutes? I know you stayed over your time. I want to try to get through and then we'll focus on Mr. Miles after that. All right, it looks like Vincent Lewis.
Yep. How you doing? My question is about scholarships. So my daughter was offered a band scholarship, and what we've seen the FAFSA, what's it, the Pell Grant come through, and along with like loan offers, but no scholarship information. So when will the scholarship information be uploaded? And additionally, like when will she get information about what she needs to do to maintain that scholarship? So like any contract type of deal as far as what she's got to do to make sure she gets it every year.
Well, in short, with regards to the band scholarship, that's Dr. Jones. He's there, in charge of director of bands. And as far as we know, we have asked him, and I think he has complied to send us updated list of any student, receiving a band scholarship, in that regard. So you can start with him if you would like, but if not, you can check. I mean, because we got his data, a little while ago, and I feel pretty confident sitting here, that whatever we receive from him, we have updated because we try to move in real time, with getting those awards, posted, because we know that some of the parts, equal the whole. And so the more you get from scholarships and what have you, the less dependency on loans and that sort of thing, you have to, rely on. As far as the contract, the other aspect of your question, there is a band contract, and they determine, I think GPA, I think now, don't hold my feet to the fire, I think for the band renewal, I think it's about a 2.5 in that regard. But check with Mr. Jones, because that is a departmental award, and that's up to him. I haven't seen a new contract in a while because in my position, I see data. I don't always see the contracts and things like that. That goes to members in my office. But you can start with him, give him a buzz, shoot him an email. He's pretty fast, with responding to folks. And so just ask him those two specific questions. One, what is the renewal criteria, for the band scholarship? And also, and he can tell you whether it's 2.5 or 2.0, or something like that. So, but it is a contract to answer the question.
Okay, so that band, will it get uploaded onto that website, the portal where it shows the financial aid information?
Yes.
So that,
yes, once we
okay.
get it, and if we haven't already received, and like I said, I was, I thought, by now, all of that would have been updated. So feel free, like I've asked at least 3 or 4 parents to date, because, sometimes trying to catch up with me is like chasing feathers in a hurricane. And so, yeah, go ahead and send me an email, and I can have my team look at it just to see, okay, the latest award information from Dr. Jones, whether or not your daughter's name, was included. Okay.
All
So
right,
please send me that. Please send me that, because I was really kind of extra with Dr. Jones a couple of months ago. Hey, we need your data. We need your data. He finally came around to doing it. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, and I don't see a name. It just says Samsung SM.
Yes, that's me. How's everyone doing?
Hello.
I had the same question as the first gentleman about the band scholarships. My son is also coming in on a band scholarship, and his information is yet to be uploaded. So I was concerned about when that would be uploaded as well.
Yeah, what I would ask that you do, because sometimes we have to go back to the source. If we don't go to the source, because, if you don't go back to the source, I could be, my team could be looking all over, and we can look at whatever was sent. So I always ask people to go back to the source, responsible, and which would be Dr. Jones or, his team, just to say, hey, I was on the line with Mr. Miles last night, and I brought to his attention this and that. You were in the portal, and you didn't see the band scholarship per se. Let me ask you a quick question. When have you received any correspondence back from Dr. Jones?
I have.
Okay.
I have.
Yeah. And when was that?
Actually, it's been a couple of months, and I've been hearing the same thing, that it's, it's going to be
Well,
turned in, or it's going to be uploaded, and there's nothing there.
Well,
So
the buck stops here. The buck stops here. And I hear you, and I understand exactly where you're coming from. So the buck stops here. So shoot me an email and say, Mr. Miles, I'm the parent who according to your records, your daughter or your son?
My son.
Yeah, your son received a band scholarship a couple of months ago. And so I love to look at that one. Okay, so shoot me that anyway, but feel free to reach out to him as well. That's all I'm trying to say.
Well, I guess my concern is, due date is August 1. We've been told about a band fee that we're also going to have to pay, this $400. So if you're asking all of these funds to come in, then we're not receiving the upload on the scholarship. Why are we continuing to, I paid the $600, now you're asking for an additional $4, but it's scholarship information didn't upload it.
Tiffany, you want to answer that part of it? Now I'll come back to what she's alluding to, because we can only process, what has been sent to us. And even though you have your notification, and I respect that, but again, as I said early on, I received documentation, a list from electronic stuff from that area, first. And so, rather than go around and round and round, go ahead and send that to me, and so that we can just cut to the chase and we can kind of get that done. Because again, sometimes, the first half is done. Okay, we awarded the student because we're trying to recruit the student in band. But then again, the other half of that is to send that doc, make sure financial aid gets it. And like I said, these are easy things for us to update, especially at this time of the year, because we're not really adjusting aid and all this other stuff. So, again, I prefer, and they know, I've reached out to the entire campus, especially not just his area, but I know we're talking about band. If your area awards scholarships, throughout, for the upcoming year, then, financial aid needs it because of your very point that you made. You want to make sure that your son aid package, consists of everything that he was offered. And again, all I can say to you sitting here, without looking at anything, sitting here, that if we have not received it, even though he has been notified, that's where sometimes I was speaking about the left hand and the right hand. Sometimes, they do their part up front, and I'm not saying they haven't. I'm just saying typically sometimes that is the issue.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but please send that to me, okay?
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, looks like Miss Cassandra Singleton.
Hi, thank you, and thank you again for having the session. I had a question because previously I had a scholarship check and I was told to send it to the treasurer's office. But on this webinar, they said send it to the cashier's or the business office. Are they all one and the same?
Yes, I mean, it was still, that's kind of an old address. But it would still make it to the
Yeah.
cashiers, but business office or the cashiers is the most current.
Is the best. Okay. And then I know for the payment, you said that it can't be a personal check. And so we have a scholarship check that the scholarship organization wrote to Hampton University. So I was gonna,
If
that's fine.
Actual agency, yeah, and they handle,
Yes.
yeah, that's fine.
Okay, and you can use that as, can that be used as the first payment that's due if you do the payment plan?
Whatever funds are up there that go towards your, if they're on the account, they count towards that fourth.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
All right, looks like Eric B.
Good afternoon or good evening. My question is that I know you kind of spoke on it before, but with deadlines coming up, still haven't gotten a financial aid package. I mean, we've gotten a merit scholarship, but I've turned into FAFSA, everything's done. I'm still waiting on that. And the one time I was lucky enough to get through with the financial aid office, they said that everything was slowed up because of the change in FAFSA and that I should be hearing something in a few weeks. Well, it's been about a month and I haven't heard anything. And also, I know you said the first payment is due August 1st, but when I was talking to a person on the phone, they said that first payment would be due July 1st. So what is it, July 1st? Is it August 1st? Question number one. Question number two, and a lot of parents seem to have the same question. I'm looking in the chat is, we have not received a financial aid package yet. So I think that's kind of frustrating for a lot of parents.
Well, I'll address that part of it. That's a little surprising to me, given the sheer numbers that we have already awarded. I don't know if your son is an incoming freshman, but
Yes, he is.
Yes, sir. As I explained to one of the previous callers, sometimes we run into issues with the Common App where and I'm not saying that's the case here, but I know it is a good number, like 10, 12% of their FAFSA folk. But no, there is no, like I said earlier in my commentary or responses, no, we've been awarding to all students, since April. And so I don't know if you just recently, completed the FAFSA. It sounds like to me, I would say recently within the last month or so, sounds like to me that's not the case. But again, whether it's you or any other parents in the chat room who are saying that, I just would love to hear from them, and that's okay. You can flood my inbox, but I'll make sure that my team, review that because, we're well beyond, awarding students, especially if we have received a valid FAFSA, and that kind of thing, unless there's something holding it up in some kind of, respect. So, sir, I would just ask you to, to do that, because again, not to be redundant, when I look at the numbers, and we run the numbers every week, I'm just a little surprised to hear that comment, per se. But not everybody situation, may be the same. It's like your tax return and my tax return, in terms of getting a refund. And so, or ineligible for a refund. And so sometimes, when we further explore, the situation or research the situation, sometimes, it does reveal to us, oh, this is missing, oh, or that. And so again, not to, do him and hum and run around the block here, just go ahead and send it. And like I said, we just have to, at this point, because I know what you mentioned moments ago about July 1st, August 1st, and there is a distinction between the two, but I'll let Ms. Tucker answer that. But I know anyone who's who's paid a deposit and committed to coming in the fall, and we want you here. We want to make sure that if we have to do a case-by-case situation, that's fine. It only takes a few nanoseconds for us to determine, hey, what's the holdup here?
And and then as far as the payment plan, the previous payment plan did start in July. So that may be where the July 1 date came from. And one thing about Hampton University, you can't always prepay. You can start in July 1 if you would like to. It allows you to break it up into 5 payments instead of 4. But either way, by August 1, you'll have the necessary payment in. So,
but then that's what we're kind of waiting on, this financial aid package to kind of see what we need to pay so that you can break it up into those installments, and hence the dilemma.
It's August 1 for the 4, but hopefully your package will be updated soon. So in case you didn't want to start July 1.
So yes, Mr. Miles, I'll send you an email in the morning and with my son's student ID and all that stuff. And
I look forward to it. Yeah, but I understand where you're coming from, and any other parent out there, trust me, and I don't take this lightly at all, not in my position. And, we try to make everything, smooth sailing and I mean, that's the wish and goal of any financial aid operation in part. So I understand what you're talking about. I mean, where you're coming from. And I also understand it's just some of everything, whether you're, on a payment plan or where you looking at, okay, what else I'm going to get? I get that. So, but I'm just saying at this point where we are, I just recommend, you and anyone else, if, just to reach out to me directly, and I'll cut through the chase and the fog and to get back to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Ms. Tucker. I know that you did decide to stay a little bit longer than planned with us and support our parents. Please remember that if you wish to contact Ms. Tiffany Tucker's office, you can do so by emailing businessoffice@hamptonu.edu or contact directly at 757-727-5661. As Ms. Tucker exit, we're going to take a couple of
Sorry, can you repeat that number again, please?
Or 757-727-5661. And the email,
thank you.
businessoffice@hamptonu.edu. And as Ms. Tucker exits, we're going to go ahead and accept the question from, it looks like Ms. Erica Andrews.
Hi, yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am. Welcome.
Okay. Hi. So we have received merit scholarships, but have not, same as other parents, received any awards of any other kind. We completed the FAFSA, we put the Social Security number in the Common App, all the things. But we do see on the under financial aid that there is a SAI number present. I understand what SAI means, all of that. Does that mean that he has been considered for financial aid and we don't qualify?
No. Like, I mean, yeah, you answer your question. Yes, he has been awarded. And the SAI, as you already know about that, which replaced the EFC. Yes, and so I don't know exactly all what you're looking at with regards to that, but yeah, he has been awarded in this particular example.
Well, I'm saying that we have under when it says the merit scholarships, but it doesn't have any like work study, any loan offers, anything like that. So does that mean that we don't qualify at all?
No, it does not. It tells me that the other components to that particular award package, for whatever reason, did not credit because those items, those other items, the loans, or if there was any need-based aid there, it should be, part of that award package to include, the merit scholarship. So I do need to see that. Oftentimes, sometimes, schools with processing aid, when they make upgrades and stuff, sometimes it messes up other little things, in that awarding or packaging process. So, ma'am, I would just encourage you to also email me. I have a team. I'm not alone. I have assistant director and associate director and scholarship people, counselors, and all of that. So go ahead and send that to me because I'd like to see it. But what it sounds like to me, and you described it very well, is that the other components are not there. And yes, we are in receipt of your FAFSA, unlike perhaps some of the other individuals that have spoken, this evening.
Okay, so he has reached out to you a few times by email. I'll have him send another email, last name Andrews, if you can please look for it. But yes, we've reached out by email.
No. If you go back, no. And again, I explained to him in the email around 5 o'clock this evening, because his first name is Keith, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I responded back to your son, but I also let him know that he has a financial aid counselor, per se. I realize that I'm the, head of financial aid and all that stuff, but no, I did respond back to him. I'm very detailed with regards to, the issue at hand there, that kind of, thing, and we are trying to fix that software challenge. You can go ask him about the email. I sent it to him. I also made.
Well, if it was 5 o'clock, he's been at work, so he hasn't received it.
Ms. Andrews, no, I try to get back to people as much as I can, but sometimes, it hit me all at once, and in my role, I'm the leader, planner, organizer, and a whole bunch of other things. But I got back to you.
Right, and we actually started with because we definitely understand, how it goes with directors so we started with calling, we started with emailing, we did the contact us. So we have started from the ground level with financial aid officers, but I'll go ahead and we'll take a look at the email, and if necessary, we'll definitely reach back out. But thank you for taking my question.
Yeah, I appreciate your summary too, because oftentimes people don't do what you just said, which you indicate, okay, I did try to reach you all, Ms. Miles, which is kind of difficult now, I'll be honest with you, because of the sheer volume. And so that's why I mentioned very early on that the preferred method of communication is using the contact us. You did make mention of that per se. So I'm a little bit there because, because I can go or my team can go and they can track whether or not that, that was done. But be that as it may, when any issue comes to me, as director, I try to make sure that I bring resolution to it per se, and not to kind of, put you back through step 1, step 2. I would never do that. But once we get it straight, and then going next year, then your son would know the protocol and all that. He'll be here on campus and all that kind of thing.
Okay, thank you so much.
I respond to him though, Mrs. Andrews, because he had made mention in his email to me yesterday. He said, well, Mr. Miles, I can ask you the question now, or I know you're going to be on this event tonight, today, I can ask you then. So it's interesting that you would ask the question, because I had already responded to him, because yeah, because he gave me a heads up.
Yes, well, thank you again.
Oh, you're welcome, Mrs. Andrews.
All right, it looks like a Miss Trinity Smith.
Hello, good afternoon. My
Hello.
question is, we have looked at the financial aid package that's on the website. We emailed, we called, and we did the contact us. Her financial aid package is incomplete because her merit scholarship is not showing up. So what do we do about that?
Well, let me ask you a question. Is she an incoming freshman or is she a continuing student?
She's an incoming freshman.
Okay, and you have receipt from
Yes,
Office of Admission, and how much, well, if you want to share, okay, did she receive a merit scholarship?
she did.
Okay, and how long ago was that in terms of the award notices? Because, you know, we kind of done all that stuff with Office of Admission quite some time ago. That's one of the
Yes,
first things that we do in the start of the award year, because that's the biggest area in terms of awarding monies outside of the federal federal student aid programs. So I would be very interested, I'm sorry, in knowing when all that was transmitted. But you
she
too,
rec-
you too,
yes,
something, okay? Because that should have been updated a while ago, unless she just got the award, you know, a few weeks ago.
we got the award early January. We filled out the papers and paid the $600
Okay.
in February when we were on campus on February the 24th. And we hit accept for the merit scholarship and everything while we were there with
Okay.
the assistance of the people that were sitting at the table.
Yeah, I mean, I would venture and say that you came to the financial aid workshop.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, because I did like 3 presentations there. Okay, and my team out front should have, been able to help you with because we had laptops out there. But be that as it may, I don't want to turn back the hands of time because I know where we are in the process. So please, 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 let me know. Now, there is probably it could be something, and I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it is, because students who was trying to get the character scholarship and also merit, there's a little policy difference there, but I don't want to go that far. So just go ahead and send that, because I am a little surprised in all this time when you came to the workshop back on February 24th that you still are not seeing that particular scholarship. Wow.
Right. And we also did apply for the character scholarship, but when we came on February 24th, we were told that we couldn't have the merit scholarship and the character scholarship.
Right.
And that's why we accepted the merit scholarship on
That's what I was
site.
alluding to seconds ago, because you have to have a certain dollar range, for that. Okay, okay, no, I fully understand, and it's good hearing from you again, and thank you for coming to my workshop back on the 24th, per se. Yeah, go ahead and send that to me tomorrow. Say, Mr. Miles, I'm the one that spoke to you about January receipt, because I'm a little surprised that we have not done that.
Okay. Also, how do I find out who my daughter's financial aid counselor is?
What's her last name?
Smith, Smith.
Okay, it should be Miss Beverly Penn. If you go to the contact us link, that's where we have it broken down to who does what with the alphabet per se. But if you having trouble, because I've been hearing trouble about links, I can let you know all of that when you email me, okay?
Okay, and then my last question is, it's a combination question. For the financial aid packet, and before we accept this packet, I am going to fill out the waiver form for having the insurance taken off. I want to go on the payment plan. We do have outside scholarships that are going to come in, and then we are going to make a down payment. So if I accept this financial aid packet, when will it be reevaluated, and when will I get that information once I send this money in?
Well, as it relates to the waiver for insurance, you have to contact student accounts about that, and they will be sending out communication on that piece of it. So let me just stick to the to what you're asking about more so on my side of the ledger per se. Yeah, each and every time we add an item to the award, we're required to send out a notification. So the very fact that you mentioned to me about the merit scholarship not being posted, So once we do post that, then you will get email. Your daughter will get an email notification. You know,
Okay.
that her award package has been updated. That's my point.
Okay, and then it will be the same thing for when that $1,000 come off for the insurance, correct?
Well, not on my end, because that's not part of the financial aid package. That's part of her student accounts summary. And so
Okay.
once you receive, yes, ma'am, once you receive the waiver for it, they will not be billed for $1,100-$1,200 for that insurance payment. Yeah. Yeah, so I would certainly do that. Unfortunately, sometimes some of our students forget to do that, and parents, and, you know, we learn it, well, student accounts learn about it, you know, a few months, you know, into the semester. So I'm glad you made mention of that. But Ms. Tucker, who just left here about 15 minutes ago, as Mr. Harris, he gave out, you know, their contact information. And so if you wrote that down, I would be happy if you did, so that you can just, you know, follow up on that end of it.
Yes, I have all the information. Thank you very much.
You're more than welcome.
All right. Looks like Lawan Jaloom.
In what order are the questions being answered? Just out of curiosity.
I'm just going down as you all are
Hello.
looking at your hand, it's just putting it in.
It was going in order. It was going by row, and then all of a sudden it started like switching.
I'm just going down because we just had Trinity Smith, and now I'm seeing.
Hello?
Is Lawan Jaloom.
Yes. I was calling because my son is going to accept the package tomorrow, but I don't know if we want to do anything with the Parent Plus loan. I talked to someone in your office, Mr. Miles, and they were trying to explain to me how he goes in and does this. I mean, what is your best advice? As it turns out, his dad might need to do the Parent Plus loan. I might pay with a cashier's check, you know, the part that is the Parent Plus loan.
Yeah, if you all are interested in going forward with the Parent Plus loan, we do have the steps, you know, for completing that particular process. But if you're just interested, then your son, he can just go into the portal and just put decline. Oh, you can, because it is a parent loan. You can just decline it if you're disinterested.
Okay. What I was trying to get over is his dad might need the loan. I may not need the loan, you know, for us to make the amount complete. So should we just accept it, or?
Yeah, you're not obligated. No, yes, ma'am, you're not obligated, or he would not be obligated if you accept it, even if you go through the process. If he, or well, it sounds like you know, it's the father, if he decides to reduce it, you know, and that sort of thing, he can do that, you know, in that regard. So let me help you out here. I'll give you one of my assistants, who is really my top person in this area, is my assistant director. Her name is
Tanisha.
Yeah, so email Tanisha.
Okay.
Per se, and she is the guru. She's been with me for about 15 years, you know, that kind of thing. So I stand by her her analysis for sure.
I know Miss Tucker has left, but do you all happen to know, she just mentioned the business office, but she didn't mention a name that you send, because he does have some outside scholarships.
Well, what I do, unlike, you know, I'm probably only one of the few administrative officers on the campus where I kind of break down who does what. It's not universal, but you know, I've had that concept, you know, for many, many, many years. So since you have been on the line with us this evening, and thank you for your participation, I would just email her directly.
Okay, I will try that again.
Yes, ma'am, because the address that you gave, that she gave, you know, and they have a team of people, and, you know, and so on, but do they break it down by alphabet? You know, I'm not sure about that. per se. So I'm just saying, to cut to the chase, I would just email her directly and let her know very specifically that you're online with us tonight and you didn't get a chance to, to ask her the question, but she will get back to you. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That was it. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome.
Stephanie's iPad number 2.
Yes, hello, good evening. I was wondering about the GI Bill and who is our point of contact for a student who needs to use the GI Bill?
Very good question. We have a very limited number of students that we do, accept into that program, maybe about 100, 125 for the post 9/11 Yellow Ribbon program and that kind of thing, or any other chapter. I'm a veteran myself, but long story, a long time ago. But long story short, and to answer your question specifically, it's the Office of the Registrar that handles that particular function. Why? Because it is a, they have to coordinate with the VA, Veterans Administration, in terms of, the veterans' eligibility, for the monies that we're talking about. So I would encourage you to contact them. If you do need a name, I'm okay with you with no names, because my name is all over the universe. So the registrar's name, and she will make sure that it gets to her staff person directly responsible for it, is Miss Regina, Regina, Cotter, Cotter. So if you're emailing her, it'd be regina.cotter at hamptonu.edu. But that's the office that handles all of that. We do not have a role in that.
Thank you so much.
All right.
You're more than welcome.
Stephanie Crawford.
Yes, hi. I was reaching out. My son just got offered a merit scholarship. I'm guessing when I had called about it previously, he didn't have that offer, but he just received the email. I'm asking, does that documentation to accept it have to be handwritten, or can I fill it out virtually and email it back?
Well, you were given a timeline or deadline to return that, but yes, to answer your question, you can, if I were you, if you're really interested in becoming your son, I would go ahead and accept that. And then I would reach out to the Office of Admission and just say, hey, can I mail this to you, or is it okay to email it to you? That kind of thing. I think they most likely, would accept, the email, version.
Yeah, we literally just got the email saying he was offered a scholarship. And I know, like, when I read the paper, like, we're way beyond the deadlines because
yeah.
we just got the email. But the guy in the financial aid office said that I guess people who do not, I guess they reallocate the money when people don't accept, when they didn't do that May 1st deadline. So I'm assuming that's why he got it, but he didn't get. He just got it on like June 1st. He got the email.
I don't want to get too fancy with with your internal process, per se, and because a lot of times people speculate and don't know, and sometimes they do know. But at the end of the day, I think in the interest of time, I would reach out to them and say, officer, because they're very friendly and they're very helpful, and they very quick to get back to people, per se. So I applaud them for that. Just so that you can determine whether or not it's okay to email it as opposed to mailing it in. That would be my recommendation.
Okay, well, they did give me an email on the form. I was just trying to confirm that I didn't have to handwrite the signature, if it was okay if I did it digitally.
Again, I'm not the one to make that determination because I'm not the office that, that handles that piece of it. Yes, everything comes through me because I'm like the power grid on the campus, if you know what I mean. And so, but in terms of their specifics, in terms of what you just said, I would just reach out to them. A simple phone call can answer your question within a few seconds.
Got it. And then